The Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee has endorsed John Hickenlooper, angering many in the party, including the 6 women candidates running against him in the primary. Meanwhile, Colorado Senator Michael Bennet failed to qualify for the next presidential primary debate that will be going on later in September. Patty, the DSCC is not the final arbiter of who's going to win a primary, but that's a pretty big voice to have made an endorsement. Frankly, this early in the primary, there's over a dozen folks. What do you think that has, what kind of effect that's going to have on the primary?
Probably not the effect it wanted to have. You were probably taping last week, right when that announcement came out that the DSCC was endorsing Hickenlooper over the other 12 Democratic candidates. Didn't do Hickenlooper any favors because it immediately got the backs up of the candidates who, some of them have been running for over a year now, and didn't appreciate that the national committee big-footed their way in. Colorado doesn't appreciate outside interference, and this is certainly one of them. It's ironic that Hickenlooper left a national race to run for Senate. He was certainly encouraged by Schumer and others, but Colorado likes to make their own decisions. They don't want Washington telling them what to do. So Hickenlooper's going to have to work some to make it look like he is independent of the big people in Washington, where he's never been, unlike Bennet, who is not going to be in the debate, but probably will go along for a few more months, I think, as a candidate.
Erica, what do you think about that? Let's start with Bennet. He's not going to be in this next debate, and frankly, the debate really shrinks. You go from 2 10-person debates to just 1. There's probably a few outliers there. You're getting really just the big names head-to-head. Does Bennet need that exposure to fuel the next few months?
Oh, absolutely. I recall with the first couple rounds of debates, watching this huge field and seeing some of the lesser candidates from other states and thinking, who the heck is that guy? And realizing that the Colorado candidates that we've been familiar with for years, someone in some other state is looking at that stage saying, who the heck is that guy? So if he can't get that national exposure through the debates, I think it's going to be a real struggle.
I think you come with a great ad campaign for Michael Bennet. Who the heck is that guy? Let me tell you who the heck I am. I don't know. If that works, remember you heard it here first, folks. Michael, you have both Bennet, not really on life support, but people are still wondering, has he dropped out yet? And then you have Hickenlooper, who is probably going to be a voice of moderation on that Democratic primary, but I don't know if that's an advantage, at least in the primary stage here in Colorado. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of fighting on the Democratic side here in Colorado rarely happens, and it's come very harsh, very early. Senator Angela Williams started this off by saying that Hickenlooper doesn't represent progressive values of women and minorities very well. You have the DSCC blocking vendors to people like Andrew Romanoff's campaign. This is a very aggressive move by the DSCC, and I think, as Patty said, it's going to backfire in a lot of ways. But you even have Hickenlooper's former consultant calling these vanity projects that these other people have. There's going to be big infighting, and while some of the progressives, the people who want a Green New Deal, that want to end private insurance, aren't very happy with Hickenlooper, I don't think Hickenlooper's moderate. He's a guy who said most of the Green New Deal is good. He's pushed for 10 tax increases as mayor and governor. He wants a public option. I mean, these are still things that are a little bit to the left of where Colorado voters are. And so this is going to be, we're 1 week into this, and there's 43 weeks left in the primary. So yeah, it rarely happens on the Democratic side, but I'm smiling about it.
I imagine that you would enjoy it. Marie, Michael makes a good point. The circular firing squad of a primary is usually the Colorado Republicans' trademark, but they're being spared that this year up until 2020. It seems the Democrats are taking that script. You have Governor Hickenlooper, who seems to have a resume that would do pretty well in the general. So the name recognition, I think Michael makes a good point, maybe not officially moderate, but probably looks more moderate against some of the other issues. But you got to get through the primary first. No one's backing down. I like Kyle Clark's point. No one's bending the knee just because Hickenlooper got into the race. How do you see it playing out? Does Hickenlooper need to go a little bit further left to pull off a primary win in Colorado?
I think this is actually really exciting. And I think the biggest thing is that we let this primary play out. Traditionally, when someone like Hickenlooper got in, you would expect everyone to step aside. And I'm glad that we're not doing that here, because we have a highly qualified, brilliant, diverse bench of people who really want this job. These aren't vanity projects. We have 2 candidates in Mike Johnston and Dan Baer who've raised more than $1 million. They're proving they can do this. When we talk about diversity, again, this record number of women, Dan Baer could be the first openly gay man to be in the U.S. Senate. if Democrat voters, we're clear we want to get rid of Senator Gardner. That's clear. Let's have some fun and figure out who the right person is to take him on.
I think it's going to be fun to check out next May to see how much fun the candidates are having, but I think you raise a good point.